There is a quick question.
Yeah, please.
Regarding right hand side, there is
Yeah, yeah.
something called like 1 month you had mentioned, right? Collection period.
Yes.
So it was 15 days, right? So how come like 1 month came here?
How come 1 month as in? I'm sorry.
Like
How did I
we
mention
called
one
it
month?
for,
No, those are two
yeah.
different scenarios. Those are not related to
Oh,
each other. I just
got
give
it.
a number. That's all.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Thank
Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to complicate the numbers,
you. No,
so
it's fine.
point 0.5 months is slightly tricky. So I just gave a round figure.
Got
Um,
it.
yeah, yeah, awesome. So what I was saying was that thing. If they give the current assets and current liability values as is, well, that's a very simple job, isn't it? You just add all the current assets, add all the current liabilities, deduct it, you calculate the working capital, and that's actually a question for first semester. Am I right? We actually had questions in which we had to calculate the working capital. Do you remember? But here it's slightly tricky. Instead of giving the information directly, they give slight trick to it. So that trick we have already discussed it. If you look at the numbers now, for going further with the question, stock of finished product 5,000. Can somebody tell what is the finished product amount?
5,000.
5,000.
Do you have to do all of that? Divided by 365, multiply by.
No, no.
Yeah, yeah. Because amount is for year. This for annual year.
Yeah. So what happens
Mm.
is, okay, you said amount is for the year. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So whole amount that is, this is what they do. Some of the information they'll give that tricky part. Some of the information they'll give exactly as is, the value that should be. So do not by mistake, if you look for, what should I multiply, that would be wrong. Just take that figure. Finished goods is already given as 5,000. Similarly, stock of stores and materials is also given as 8,000. Now, okay, before we go forward from here, let me ask. Um, you have to use the knowledge of current asset and current liability here. Which one is current asset, which one is current liability? You have to figure out from the names of those items those are given. Is anybody finding it difficult to figure out? We can repeat that whole process. We have already discussed in the first semester, but we can repeat that process, no problem. What is the current asset, what is the current liability and all.
Stock will be like, of course, an asset.
Yeah,
Wages will be an liability.
yeah, yeah,
And then like what we have, credit will be always an asset,
yeah,
because if it is crediting to our account, it is an asset. Debit is always an liability.
yeah.
Then miscellaneous expenses
All
also will be
the
liability.
WIP will all be assets.
Correct. Correct. Okay. Okay. As and when we go forward, I'll ask you these questions. Let's answer together. Whether something is asset, whether something is liability. We'll go from there. We'll see if somebody is facing any difficulty. We'll address those. All right. As of now, finished product and stores and material is current asset or current liability. These two items.
Current asset.
Current asset. That's absolutely correct. Everybody is clear. Anybody is having doubts why these are current assets?
It's still like lying with the company, so it's an asset until unless it is dispatched to the other
Yes,
counterpart.
that's absolutely correct. Yes. Let's move to the next one then. Okay. I'll take that as a no. Nobody's having problem. Average credit given. What does this mean? Can somebody tell? Average credit given. Which item is it pertaining to?
It's an asset. Credit is an asset, but
Okay.
No, I got it. Asset only.
Sa-
What is it?
Sale. Sale.
Sale. Yeah, sale you can say, but there is a better
Sale
name
of
for it. Sorry.
uh, finished goods
creditor,
sold.
No,
creditor,
no, no, not finished goods. Not creditor. No,
credit.
no, not creditor.
Average credit given.
That's debtors, isn't it?
Debtors.
That's
Debtors.
debtors, right? So when you are
Debtors.
selling
Yes.
and giving a credit to somebody, that means they are debtors, right? Everybody is clear.
Yeah. There's a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are debtors only. And again, asset only. Definitely asset. Debtors are your asset, that's for sure. Um, so there are two components of the debtors. So the two components is because you have two different types of sales. Often it happens with companies also. Inland sales, that is the domestic sales. Export sales, that you are exporting. And for both the sales, they have given the sales figure and they have given the weeks of time. Now, can somebody tell me what is the debtor value from inland sales? How many weeks are there in a year? Can somebody tell?
52.
52 weeks.
Absolutely
52
correct.
weeks.
Take 52 only. Take 52 only and do the calculation and tell me what is the amount of debtor from inland sales.
36,000.
36,000 is the correct answer. Yes, absolutely. And from export sales, please.
Dheeraj, sorry to interrupt. I actually got a call in between, so I missed the part what we are doing here. I mean, I followed till where we did the last calculations,
Okay.
and then you mentioned that the working capital we are doing by
Okay.
asset
Yeah,
minus
yeah.
liability.
So what we
And
have.
now how are we?
Yeah. So what we have been doing is we're going through one item by item, and the first two items that we read were stocks of finished goods and stocks of stores and materials. Those two are current assets only, and as no number is given, that means the value is given itself. So finished product is 5,000 for the whole year. Stocks of stores and material is 8,000 for the whole year. So we don't have to do anything, right? And we are then going to the next item, that is average credit given. So we just discussed that is nothing but debtors only, and debtors has two components: inland sales, that is domestic sales, one other one is export sales. Now here they have given 6 weeks credit, and the total value is given as 312,000. Now we are figuring out what is the amount of debtor from inland sales. Can you tell? Cell has already
Oh, okay.
completed.
So it will be divided by 6 into 52, is it?
No, you said other way around.
Multiplied by.
It should be multiplied by 6 divided by 52. Make sense?
The answer is 36,000, right?
Right.
Yeah. Answer is 36,000. That's absolutely correct. The export sales one?
Yeah, export sales one 78,000 divided by 78,000 multiplied by 52 divided by sorry 1 second.
No, you did other way around
1.5.
again.
No,
Is it
I'll do it.
2250?
2250 is
22.
the correct answer. Absolutely correct. Yes.
So Dheeraj, one point I think you can clarify that Sir said that if nothing is mentioned in week,
Yeah.
then we take calendar year as 52 weeks, right?
Yes.
But sometimes they are given as 50 weeks.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful about that.
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely correct. Actually, we are going to practice more number of questions. When we'll be dealing with those, we'll be covering those scenarios. But this is a good time to discuss that also. What happens is often a separate extra information will be given in the question, a specific information. If a specific information is not given in the question, then you assume the generic data. Right. So you assume that, for example, in a year there are 365 days. But if the question specific sentence says that assume the number of days in a year to be 360, that means you cannot take 365 in that question. Am I right? So if a specific information is given in the question, take that. If not, then go for the generic one. Generic data are months 12, quarter 4, weeks 52, days 365. If some other data is given, go for it. In fact, that can change. Some company may come and say, you know what, even though there are 4 quarters in a year, we are seasonal business, so we don't work on the fourth quarter. You have to take only 3 quarters for us. That can happen. That's absolutely genuine also. Likewise, it can happen for weeks, it can happen for days, and so on and so forth. So always remember that part. If specific information is given, take that. If not, go for the generic one, generic number. Is that clear, everybody? Any doubts in that?
It's clear, Dheeraj. And we have to write down the amount, right?
Assumption, yes. So for all the type of questions, this is again another information, generic information I'm going to give. Good point. What happens is in accounting and finance, often with calculations, we take assumptions here and there because the questions are not complete all the time. They require us to take some assumptions. So the moment you take any assumption, write that down. Better to get it done with. Don't let the examiner figure out what is your assumption. Instead, you tell only. So I think one teacher I had always told very nice thing: assume that your examiner, whoever is checking your paper, is nobody. He doesn't know anything. You have to write down whatever you are doing in the paper only. So from that perspective, always write down whatever you feel like, you are taking assumption, you need a more clarity on that. Whatever is coming to your mind, write that down. So yeah, this kind of assumptions
Right.
you can write down in your own language.
Just quick
Yeah.
check. The export sales, it is in per year, right? 78,000. So we had calculated per week 2,250.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Yes. Moving on to the next item, if nobody has any doubts in this. Okay. Average time lag in payment of wages and other outgoings. So you have to tell me first what is this item and whether it's a current asset or current liability.
Liability.
Absolutely correct. It's a liability. And what are the item names?
Wages, stock and material.
Creditor. No, you said
There is an accounting name for it. You are familiar with it. Creditor. Yeah, you can say creditor, but not exactly, not for all.
sundry creditor.
Sundry creditor, actually you can tell for, yeah, you can tell, but there is actually a better name specifically for wages and rent and royalties. Those will not be creditors, especially for
No, that
wages.
is overheads.
No, that is not over it.
Not direct expense.
No, that is called outstanding expense.
Outstanding expense.
Yeah, so that's the accounting term they use. In the exam, you can simply write creditors also. You can just write exactly same language also. That's all right. Same language as they have said, no. Wages and other outgoings, like that you can write down. And in the heading, you can write these points, no problem. But you just have to figure out whether those are current assets or current liabilities. So actually stocks and material will go under the creditors, but the other two, wages and rent and royalty, those will come under outstanding expenses. Those are all part of the current liability. Okay, as we are clear with that. Let's move to wages. Please.
Can we add one more column, like when we are writing, trying to solve this problem, right? Can we add one more column like amount per week next to amount for the year? And we can calculate all these amounts per week in the next column.
Yeah, absolutely. So see, I think in the class, sir was focusing on the format, in a very serious way. But to be honest, I don't. As far as you know what exactly needs to be done, you can have a structure to your answer. If you feel like, this is the table that I want to make, you go for it, you make it. As long as you're reaching to the answer, that's not a problem at all, which is exactly why I'm not focusing on the structure of the answer yet. So as you said, absolutely correctly, you can have two columns. Logically, if you think, that would come to you only. In one column, you would have the items. In one column, you should have the yearly amounts. In one column, you will have the ratios, 3 by 52, 1 by 52, and so on and so forth. In the last column, you will have the multiplication of those two. Or somebody else will come, he'll say, no, I don't need the ratios. I'll just have the amount and then the final value. That's also fine. As long as you receive the answer, that's absolutely fine.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So logically, just think about it. What should be the structure of the answer and go for it. No problem in that. There is no standard format to this answer. For balance sheet or P&L, there is a standard format. So we focus on the format. Here, there is no such standard thing. Whatever feels right to you, go for it. No problem. Now for wages, can somebody tell what is the value?
3333.33.
That's absolutely, no. 333 you said? No, that's
7,500.
Yeah. 7,500 is the correct answer. Weeks, no? You did divided by 52 only, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
260 into 1.5 by 52.
By 52, yes.
By 52.
Yeah, it's 7,500 only.
I think that 6 got missed in my
slight mistake probably. Yeah, no problem. Stocks and materials?
24,000.
24,000.
6,000.
24,000 is incorrect. 6,000 is the correct answer.
How?
That's month.
Month, right? Did you focus on the month part? You should divide by 12, right?
Divide by 12.
Yeah.
I got confused with the number.
Yeah. Always focus on that. Please.
No, but Dheeraj, tell me, when we are working on with these two different things, don't we need to convert everything into one?
No, there is no such requirement. No, there is no such requirement. Sir actually did it. That way, sir, the reason sir did it was to clarify that and to avoid the confusion, to avoid this kind of mistakes that we make. Just now, I think it was Anvesha, right? You made that mistake of using weeks in place of months.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
yes.
just to avoid that.
No. Okay, maybe something.
Oh, okay, no problem. So that's what I mean. The purpose, the sir did that in that way. He mentioned all of it and he converted everything to months and he went from there, just to avoid that scenario where you are making mistakes. But if you are figuring out and if you are not making that mistake, that is absolutely fine. If you feel like, no, I need to convert that to months, all of them to weeks, all of them to years, as the case may be, and then go proceed with the question, that is also absolutely fine. Either way, you'll get the answer, correct answer. No such requirement as such that you have to convert everything to month or weeks. Yeah.
No, because if I calculate that number 48,000, right?
Yeah.
If I say 48,000 multiplied by 1.5,
Yeah.
divided by 12.
Yes.
So we get 6,000 as answer.
Correct.
But if I go 48,000
Yeah.
multiplied by 6 weeks divided by 52, my answer differs. It will come
Yes.
553.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. That difference will be there. That is
But
because, yeah, please. That is.
no, I'm saying that we can do that, convert and write a note that everything is converted into weeks.
Yes.
Will that
Yes.
help, or we should go with?
I think a teacher, a standard teacher who is not too strict, no, they should grade you correct even for that. In fact, I'll tell you, I'm an educator only, right? So I prepare questions for students. I make sure their grading is actually making sure that that kind of scenario is covered. We often give tolerance to the answer. So what happens is the one person will get 6,000, one person will get, like you said, the 5,000 something answer, right? So there is a difference between those two. So we give a tolerance like that, that even if student gets this much of difference, that's absolutely fine. Grade them correctly. And so a standard teacher should do that. If somebody strict is there, what we can do, right? So if somebody says, no, if answer doesn't match, I won't give the answer mark at all. So, but we'll demand the mark for the step marks, steps in the question. That much at least we can ask for from those people, from that kind of instructor. But both should be fine, and assumption is even better, like you said. Even giving a note is also better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is 5,000.
Next one is 5,000. That is correct. Everybody got it?
5%.
I think most of you have already calculated the rest of it. It seems very easy now. Once you do a little of it, just focus on the month, week, and that part, and everything else is very easy. It's just a simple calculation. Always remember, this calculation is coming from the first semester. That ratio calculation only. It's not coming from just abstractly from anywhere. It's all we already know about all this. So clerical stuff, you calculated to how much?
2583.
2583.
2583 absolutely is correct. And manager?
200.
Yes. For clerical staff and manager, again, it comes under that outstanding expense part, or you can say outstanding salary also. Again, all current liabilities only. Now coming to miscellaneous expense.
6,000.
6,000 is the correct answer. Yes. Got it, everybody?
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Now, payment in advance. Before we move forward, is it a current asset? Is it a current liability?
Payment in advance is a credit. Sorry, it's a expense.
It's an expense. No, I asked whether it's a current asset or current liability. Yes, asset. One
Current
asset. Anybody else? Anybody?
Payment is given to company, or payment is given from company to someone else?
If you look at it, what information under it is given are expenses, right? That means it's an expense for us. If an expense for us and we are talking about advance, then
current liability.
No, listen to me very carefully. If there is an expense for us, then we have to pay to somebody, right?
Correct.
And when we are talking about advance in that scenario, who would have paid whom? Advance.
Means,
we must have paid to the outside. We must have paid.
We paid, yeah.
Yes. In that case, is it a current asset or a current liability?
Asset. Current asset.
Yes. So you have to understand that from that perspective, and accordingly, it should be very easy for you. Anybody who is not able to connect to the current asset or current liability part, I can explain a little bit more. That's not a problem.
I think I'll go mistake here. Like payment in advance means I'll be thinking like the company is giving to someone else.
No, it's definitely companies giving to somebody else only, right? We just realized that only, right?
Right.
It's company giving to somebody else only.
So if someone is taking it, like then it will be like rent liability, right? For us, like for company.
Okay, but that's a very good analogy. That's a good point. We'll take it from there. We'll discuss what is a current asset, current liability, and we'll figure out from there. What is a current asset? You tell me, please. I think you already know. Just have to connect to that concept. What is a current asset?
Whatever is with me, with the company, it has been not yet been dispatched to the outsider.
Okay.
It's still within the boundary of the company. It is an asset for me.
Okay, definitely. One part I definitely agree with it is asset for us. It's an asset for us, and when you say current, that means it's short term, right? When you say current, it's a short term, basically a short term asset.
Correct.
Because when an asset becomes long term, we call it fixed asset, right?
Fixed asset.
So current asset is
all WIP, all work in progress will be a current asset.
Current asset only. Now let's talk about asset. What is an asset? When do you know something is an asset for you?
Which is a long term, like relying with me. For example, like a property, or it can be a goodwill amount, whatever it is.
Okay.
Still
Try to find a word which connects everything together. I understood. The examples are absolutely right. But what is that word which can connect everything? For an asset to be an asset, what is that word? That is economic benefit. Something that will benefit you is an asset for you. Am I right?
correct.
Something that will benefit you is an asset for you. Now, exactly opposite of that is liability. I'm not bringing that in. Here, let's talk about this one. When you are paying somebody else, you have already paid. Am I right? When you talk about advance is already given, then you have already paid. Then that advance is going to benefit you or is going to ask you for money again in the future.
It is
It's
a
gonna
liability
benefit
which I
us.
paid.
Sorry?
No, advance means I have to pay, right? So I have
No,
to pay means
not you have to pay. No, that is incorrect. When you have to pay, you have already paid. When you say payment in advance, that means you have already paid in advance. Am I right?
Right.
So think it from that perspective. Okay, till now you are thinking you have to pay.
Right.
No, you have already paid. Now think it from that perspective. You have
it's an asset.
Definitely an asset. Yes, I think you got it. Everybody else got it? Anybody having any doubts? Okay, awesome. Now that we know that payment in advance is done for sundry expenses. Sundry expenses is 8,000, and this is paid quarterly in advance. This is paid quarterly in advance. Can somebody tell me what is the value of this current asset?
8,000 by 3.
No. How many quarters? Yes, 2,000 is the correct answer. Quarters are 4, no? Cell? We should divide it by 4.
Yeah.
So 3 months, 4 quarters, right?
No, but 8,000 is paid. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
But 8,000 is not paid quarterly. It is total is paid. 8,000 is total for a year.
Yes.
And it is 2,000 per quarter. Yeah.
Yes. That is absolutely right. You just did divided by 3. That's what I said. Instead of 3, just 4.
Yeah.
4. So one more thing is there. Unrun profits on an average throughout the year. What is this? Current asset or current liability?
Profits we don't consider it, right? In this.
It's neither current asset nor current liability. One person should figure out from the name itself. It is actually part of. Can somebody tell what is it part of?
Shareholder equity.
That's absolutely correct.
It's
I need a little bit more retained earnings. I expected that. Yes, it's actually part of retained earnings. It's not current asset. It's not current liability. It's retained earnings actually. If you're not able to connect to the concepts of semester 1, that's all right. This name would be there almost in every question. Unrun profits. The moment you see it, ignore it for this type of questions. That's the logic. Is everybody okay?
Yeah, Dheeraj, one quick question.
Yeah.
As we had calculated, as Shell had already asked this question, like we have in different time frame, like one is in weeks, one is in months, and here we have quarters, right? Sundry expenses. So here we had divided 8,000 by 4 because it is quarterly. So 4 quarters means 2,000 we got the amount.
Correct.
So this is varying, right? Initially we calculated by weeks, then month, then quarterly. So is it not consistent in weeks?
That is correct. Yes. It
So
is.
is it
I
okay? Like,
totally agree. Yeah. This is absolutely okay. As I said, to sell also, both are fine. Both answers are fine. The reason for the difference, can somebody tell why there is a difference? It should not be, right? If you think about it logically, the difference is because the standard they have set 52 weeks and the standard they have set 365 days is not exactly exactly those numbers, not for all the years. 365 is because some months is less, some month is more, right? But when you talk about 2 months, you take 60 days instead of taking 30 plus 31, because almost every time your consecutive months will have 30 and 31. When you talk about 2 months, you take 60 days instead of 61. That's exactly why the difference comes out, and that's absolutely genuine, which is exactly why both the answers are fine.
No, the thing is, I definitely got this confusion because initially we calculated weeks. I was expecting to calculate this quarterly also in weeks, converting into
Exactly.
weeks and then
Okay,
calculate by
okay,
week.
okay, okay. This way, the way we did it, don't you think this one is actually easy one? If you convert
Yeah,
everything
definitely.
to everything to months or weeks, that part actually is a whole different process. And instead of that, we can actually go by this. If you focus on that part a little bit, if you can make sure that you're not making a mistake, that mistake of calculating through weeks when the month is actually given, then that's absolutely good to go with. But again, if you're comfortable with that, please go ahead with the other one. Please go ahead with the calculation of months for everything. Then on that basis, you calculate the values. That's also fine. No problem.
So if
Marks
it is
should be
month
awarded.
means it will be divided 8,000 divided by 12, right? If it is in months.
If it is in months, you tell me, no? If you convert that into months, what should be your month for this? First of all, you have to find out for one quarter how many months are there.
3 months.
3 months. So your number is 3 months, right? Now, in the same logic, you do 8,000 into 3 divided by 12. Am I right?
Okay.
In the same logic,
Correct.
right? 8,000 into 3 divided by 12. In that way, you'll also
Hmm.
get 2,000 only.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. The difference will be there, where? If you convert that into days. If you convert that into days, you take 3 months and you take 90 days. Am I right? You take 90 days.
Then,
3 months means
right.
90 days. When you do 90 divided by 365, then there will be a difference in that number. That is only because of the exact reason what I was talking about. You should not take 90 days, right? You should actually take 92 days. Because 31, 30, 31.
Correct.
But we don't do that. Normally we don't do that. So that's why the difference comes in. But both answers are fine, absolutely fine. Now that we have calculated all the current assets and current liabilities, can somebody tell what is the total of the current assets? So here we have stock of finished goods as 5,000, materials as 8,000, and sundry debtors, both the components we calculated in land sales as 36,000, export sales are 2,250. Then we had advance payment as a current asset that came to 2,000. The total comes to 53,250. Am I right? It's just a total, no? 53,250. And you have to tell me the current liabilities also, the total of it.
Two seven two eight three.
27,283. That's absolutely correct. And your working capital comes to
25,967.
absolutely correct. Did everybody get the answer?
Yes, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Are we done with the question?
Yeah. So one more thing.
No. Before you move on, are we done with the question? We are actually not done with the question. That's why.
Not done with the question. We have to add 10% as a contingency.
Yes.
Contingency.
Absolutely correct. Never forget that. There is a chance that you may forget after doing all the calculation. As I said, we will discuss this at the end of the question, end of the answer. Sorry, sentence reads: you are given the following estimates and are instructed to add 10% to your computed figure to allow for contingencies. The question very simply says just add 10%. Blindly add 10%. Don't think about it. Don't stress on it. Just add 10%. So you go and add 10% to that working capital that you got. That is 25,967. You add 2,597. That comes to 28,563. That is your final answer. Is that okay, everybody?
Yeah.
Awesome. Nasami, please. You are asking something.
Yeah. There might be a question. They may ask us to calculate current asset based on the current liability has been given and working capital.
No, not here. Not here. That was accounting question. That was in a semester 1 question. Not here.
Got it. So it will always like WCM, right?
Yeah, like this only. Yes. Yeah. Any doubts, guys?
See, the problem, Dheeraj, this is where I have faced a problem even in first semester and others. Identifying what are assets and what are liabilities. I think that's the major part of the whole thing.
That's a really good point.
That's where people, I got confused last time when I was doing that. They gave us to put the ledgers, right?
Yes.
Journal entries and ledger entries and other things.
Yes.
That is where it was very difficult for me
okay.
to understand what are liabilities and what are assets.
Okay.
But now here it becomes very clear.
Yeah. So as and when you practice and revise that concept a lot, what is an asset, what is a liability, it gets more clearer to you. And now here what happens is it's very easy to figure out. You know why? Because it's given in a kind of detail form. And from the meaning of it, you get to know what exactly is happening here. Instead of just one word, they're saying in detail on average time lag in payment of wages and other outgoings. The moment you say outgoings, that means it feels like, something is going out. That means a liability. So it's easier here to get it from. But from a single word, that slightly.
It is also clear that now the expenses can be very clear here.
Yeah.
Whereas there it was so many line items. It was very difficult.
Yeah. Absolutely correct. And all the terminologies are new for you, That's absolutely understandable. I mean, I give that benefit of doubt absolutely, without thinking for a second. What we will do is, as when we go forward, we'll be either way practicing a lot of questions from this chapter. So I'll follow the exactly same approach in the coming discussions. We'll practice a question, then only we'll move to a new topic. We'll practice few questions at least, and then move to a new topic, so that you can, if you're not able to practice at home, you can at least you get some hand in practicing here with us. I hope whoever is watching the videos also practice with us. I'm not sure. Otherwise, they won't benefit at all. I mean, the last discussion, we only practice. So there is no point of watching that without practicing. So that's that. We'll be revising that concept of current asset and current liability whenever we are dealing with these type of questions going forward. So that will be more better for us. Any other doubts, guys? Anything?
Yeah, Dheeraj, sorry, I'm asking too many questions.
No,
so
many.
Please.
Yeah.
So as you already said, is it fine? It's fine, like wherever we see like it is in weeks, calculate in weeks, and wherever it is quarter, calculate in quarter.
Yeah.
And then like sum up the total current asset and current liability. Then WAC is the current asset minus current liability.
Absolutely correct. That's the standard way, in fact. Just to make it slightly make you avoid that chance of making a mistake, the other way you can choose this. That's actually the correct way of doing it. You're supposed to do that way. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Can we do sorry, go ahead.
Please. Yeah.
No, Sami, please finish.
Yeah. Okay. Can we do a similar type? One more question. We can just change the numbers just for practice purposes.
We'll do that today. Only in the evening we're going to practice one more question. We are already done with it. It's been 1 hour, more than 1 hour, in fact. I don't want to take much time of yours. So in fact, I don't have another question prepared yet. So I'll have to do that. In the evening when we meet, we'll practice one more question. In fact, I'll prepare 2 more questions to practice from this chapter. Then only we'll move forward to the next chapter.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Anvesa, was it?
Anvesh, you're asking something.
Yeah. Yes, Dheeraj. Sorry, I probably am asking the same thing. I just missed those 2 very important minutes in between, and so I lost track a little bit. So here we have to calculate. We are given the expenses for the whole year, is it? And we have to give an average of expenses that are required.
Similar.
So that average is per. Yeah.
Please, yeah. Go ahead, no?
Oh no, you were saying.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't.
Okay,
I thought you were asking that only. You're telling. Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so that is what I was not sure of. I mean, I got the calculations why we are dividing by the whole year's number of weeks or number of quarters, and then calculating for what we have. But here average means per month or per week. I think everybody was also asking around the same lines in between why we had doubts. Are we calculating expenses per month?
I got it. No, so nothing general as such, that expenses will always be, the moment they say average, that means it has to be in month or it has to be in weeks. It can vary from item to item. I'll take you back to the first example that we practiced in the daters. We had the sales value, right, of 1 lakh. Tell me, is that a annual value? Is that a monthly value? Is that a weekly value? What is your assumption? When I say sales is 1 lakh, what is your normal assumption?
Like a yearly.
Exactly.
Annual.
So whatever value they give, you assume that to be similar to that. Number 1. Okay. Number 2, as I said, 2 scenarios here. One I said in days, one I said in months, right? One I said in days, one I said in months. So it can be both.
Yes.
So as per the information given in the question, you will take the average accordingly. So if the information is given in weeks, you take weeks. If the information is given months, then you take months. For each item, it will be given for sure.
Okay.
Is that okay?
And then since we are since we are adding and subtracting all the assets and liabilities together, so then like I think Shell was also asking in between, so we need to have everything on one standard, right? Otherwise say 1.5 weeks is not equal to 1 month when we are calculating per quarter.
Logically, if you calculate by weeks, if you calculate by months, if you calculate by years, the answer is supposed to be same only. The answer is supposed to be same only. It should not vary. However, there is slight difference.
But for one,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, sorry to interrupt you. Please
No
go
problem. So what I was saying was the answer is supposed to be same, no matter what. There is but because of some standard that we use, there is a chance that your answer might vary, but not in a big difference. However, both of those answers will be graded correctly no matter what you follow. A standard teacher should do that. That's what my understanding is. Now, coming back to your question, if you take months, if you take weeks, the answer will not be different at all, no matter what.
But that is if I am taking for say one value where it is for in months, there I'm taking 1 month, and for the value which is in weeks, I'm taking 4 weeks. Then I can equate those two. But here we are taking say 1.5 months and then a few other weeks. So that is not equating, right? It's not this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking
weeks
about.
For wages. Okay.
Go ahead, please.
I think sir also
wages
told,
is 1.5 weeks.
Sir also told. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think I have a lag, so I'm going on interrupting when I think you all are not speaking, and then you start speaking. Sorry, please go ahead.
Okay. Sel, you're saying, please.
No, what I was saying is, this question I asked in the class also to sir.
Yeah.
He said, you can do in your way you want.
Yeah.
If you are deviating from any way, just write your assumptions that you have